Well, the Trump administration and Mike Johnson are running a pedophile protection program. That's what they've been doing.
Dude!
And that's the reason why they refused to swear in Representative-elect 𝗙𝗙𝗫𝗀𝗧. For weeks now.
This particular statement here is one of the boldest things I've seen him do, okay? Because he's literally out in a congressional setting on national TV calling them out for protecting pedophiles, and he's not lying. He's not making it up. Everybody, right? Everybody knows he's not lying. Even the MAGA people. Look at this. This was yesterday. Dude, this stuff is heating up, guys. Let's follow this thread that we got here. A few GOP House members say they've heard from FBI DOJ contacts that the Epstein files with copies in different agencies are worse than Michael Wolff's description of Epstein photos showing Trump with half-naked teenage girls. Speculation/rumors are sweeping through the GOP caucus. So, dude, that is an insane statement, okay? That House members are saying they're hearing they're worse than what Michael Wolff said, okay? Worse. He says this is apparently adding to the expectation that once Rep. Grijalva is sworn in and signs the Massey discharge petition, triggering a House vote 7 legislative days later, more than 100 plus Republicans will vote with all Dems to release the files to get in front of what's coming. No way, bro. Dude, this shit, I want to rock them all, dude. I'm serious. And I don't care if a bunch of Dems go down, dude. I want to rock them all, okay? He says several GOP lawmakers were also spooked by Bondi's testimony to the Senate a few weeks ago, asked specifically by White House if the FBI has the alleged photos described by Wolff or if Bondi has seen him. Bondi refused to say. She didn't give a denial. Remember this, guys? We covered that. Let's go back and look at that video, dude. It was White House and Bondi. It was a huge deal because she attacked him, but she did not deny it. You ready? Watch right here, dude. Here it is.
Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe. I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman.
That's not what he asked you, though, Pam Bondi, but thank you for chiming in there.
Who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions.
He's
and the
not
senator
enthused.
Sitting right next to you.
He doesn't care.
Tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that. Okay.
See, here's the problem. You ready? Now, we know she did the dog and pony show, but why didn't she say no? No, I have not seen those photos. No, those photos don't exist. Right? Yeah, she has no reply because they're like, holy shit, we know those photos exist. She'd be in jail. Lying to Congress under oath, that's a problem. Okay? Giving false statements to Congress, she would be in prison. Okay? But she didn't say no. She didn't say they don't exist, right? And so everybody in Congress, everybody who saw this was like, holy fucking shit. Now we know why Michael Wolff ain't getting sued for defamation. And you ready? What else we got, though? Is we got this, guys. This is an oldie but goodie.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump? What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Look at his face!
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Again, he didn't say no. He didn't say no, dude. Dude, that's the easiest no, right? I mean, it's the easiest fucking no to give, bro. Dude, okay. So let's go back here. Now we have those pieces of information. See, I mean, guys, I really think there's something massive here. It's pretty obvious by the behavior. Like this shit they're doing with 𝗙𝗪𝗽𝗀, the way that they're not swearing her in, and it's been 40 days. They've never done that before. There's no reason they can't swear her in. Dude, this is crazy. You know those photos exist, guys. We know they do, man. You know what I'm saying? We know those photos exist. Epstein files reportedly worse for Trump than Republicans feared. The panic inside the Republican Party just got even more frantic. Multiple House Republicans are freaking out after hearing from DOJ that this shit is especially compromising. Now, again, we know it had to be compromising because we saw how they turned tail, right? They literally, in March, they were like, this shit is coming out. Bongino's like leading the victory parade. And 6 weeks later, they were like, this doesn't exist. There is no list. Sorry, right? Bongino's like, trust me, it's all gone, right? 𝗙ષe𝗶𝗹𝗆 is sitting there saying it's not my lane. Elon Musk is like, Trump's in the files. Dude, the truth will come out. Now, you remember, Michael Wolff described those Polaroids at a pool, right? They're outside Epstein's Palm Beach mansion by the pool. Trump is there with young girls, topless. And he has a stain on his pants, and they're all making fun of the stain on his pants. But now the FBI is saying, well, it's even worse than that. And for those of you guys saying about like deleting this shit, here's the reason why you can't delete it. This is a multi-agency investigation that started with the Palm Beach police, went through the Palm Beach County Courthouse, through the FBI in the Southern District, through the FBI in the Northern District, through all the interviews that these young ladies and people that have done and the evidence that has been extracted, that like this shit has been copied and recorded in so many different police agencies and so many different things. You would have to get rid of all of it. Like if you started pulling out this piece or that piece, it would show up in hundreds of other locations. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's just one folder. It's like 100,000 documents. It is so interlaced and interspersed with different people's accounts and lawyers and depositions from different lawsuits that it would be impossible for them to pluck this shit out because it's so complicated. You just couldn't do it. And that's why they're hiding. I mean, if they could have just plucked it out, it would have been gone and released. It's just not that simple. It's not like snapping a photo of it and throwing something in a burn bag and it's all over with, you know? And so the reason why the Democrats didn't do anything with the files was because they were prosecuting Ghislaine Maxwell. So the Democrats did do something with the files. They prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell. They had witnesses on the stand, and Maureen Comey secured a 20-year sentence. Then Ghislaine started appealing. And so they couldn't release anything after she started appealing because that would have affected the appeal. So they did prosecute her. They actually used them to win a conviction. And it was a very convincing trial. Like they buried her. And she's been appealing ever since. So that shit is just sat on ice. Now, though, it's complicated because now Trump has put her in that work camp and he's interrupted her experience. I think now they don't really care. They're not worried so much about an appeal because now it's like, all right, I think they're going to unload this whole thing and they're going to start prosecuting like a lot of people, and maybe a lot of people are going to get canceled. But if the report is true, the Epstein files could expose a massive cover-up involving Trump and his allies. Republicans know it. That's why they're terrified. When Trump rants about witch hunts, dude, I'm telling you guys, age of Aquarius, baby. These guys are going down. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. And can I just tell you, like, those of you who have been sexually abused will relate to this. So I was sexually abused as a kid, okay? And I didn't know it. I didn't remember it. I stuffed it down. But of course, as I got into my late teen years, I started exhibiting some of the promiscuity behaviors and addiction behaviors that it was pretty obvious something happened, but I still wasn't paying attention. And you kind of live in this world where it happened, but it didn't really happen because it's just sort of like not in your viewpoint. And then what happened is one thing happened with one of my half brothers who was schizophrenic and went off his medication that like triggered something in me. And I remembered one thing. And then a couple years later, I remembered something else. And then a couple years later, I went and I did some therapy. And then a couple years later, I took an acting class and the teacher said, yeah, I think you have some trauma. I recommend EMDR. And then slowly but surely, the puzzle pieces come together. But then what happened is eventually you get to a point where enough of the puzzle comes together that the whole thing just picks up steam. And there's no stopping your remembering and your recovery, okay? It all just comes surging and you just pile through it. But then the recovery happens and the healing really begins. This case is kind of like that, where it started and it got initiated, there was movement, then it stalled, then it showed up a couple years later because Virginia Giuffre sued Ghislaine Maxwell for defamation. That put depositions in a public record that reporters found out. Julie K. Brown, Epstein gets arrested. Acosta steps down from labor secretary. Epstein's dead. Brunel gets arrested. He ends up dead. And then it resurfaces again. Ghislaine gets convicted. Trump wins election again, which kind of like keeps it lingering. Like if he had just not won the election, this probably goes away, right? The files just sit there. And you know what I'm saying? If he hadn't won election, I bet the files sit there while Ghislaine appeals for 10 years and everyone kind of forgets about it. But he won again saying he was going to release it. And now though, there's like worldwide support. There's support in Congress. There's support in MAGA. There's support everywhere. The women are feisty. Virginia Giuffre like unalives herself. Maybe we don't know what's up. But now I feel like they're over the hill. Like they've hit that part where so much of this has come out and been exposed and gained steam. The birthday book and, you know, Epstein's estate giving shit that they aren't going to be able to stop it. Like you get to a point where you're not going to be able to stop it. And I think we're at that point. I think it's going to come off the rails, guys. I think it's coming, dude. It's just a behemoth that is bigger than like one man or bigger than one incident. And this is the ultimate thing here, guys, is that when it comes to it, like Trump literally is the main character. He is. Dude, his modeling agency was the blueprint for Jean-Luc Brunel and Jeffrey Epstein's modeling agency. He was good friends with Ghislaine Maxwell's father, okay? He knew Ghislaine Maxwell before he knew Epstein. And in fact, Trump was no doubt, I will go out and say this, I bet Donald Trump was the reason Epstein was even able to build what he built. Was because of Donald Trump. Like Trump made the pathway for him. And if you go back to the very first report, okay, it's Maria and Annie Farmer. So this is Annie Farmer and this is her older sister, Maria. Right here, Maria Farmer, she's the first person to call the FBI in 1996, okay, a full 11 years before he actually got busted. Maria Farmer found out her sister had been abused by Jeffrey Epstein. All right, her sister Annie. And Maria Farmer one night went to Jeffrey Epstein's office and had this interaction with Donald Trump showing up, and Donald Trump thinking she was supposed to be for him, and Epstein took Trump in the back room. No, she's not yours. She's not here for you. Like, took him in there. So she called the FBI and reported Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump for trafficking and SA in 1996. She was the one who documented it. And they still have that report, that original report. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.